This is My Reality Podcast Show, the podcast that allows you to tell your story with no questions asked. If you think you don't have a story, then think again. Everyone's got a story to tell.
Welcome back to another episode of My Reality Podcast Show, hosted by myself, KC. Now, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, share, and comment. Yeah? And this is episode 11 of My Reality Podcast Show, so we're moving quick. You get what I'm saying? And I'm proud of that. Anyway, on today's show, I'm going to be talking about how to support a child with learning difficulty in school. Okay? So that's how to support a child with learning difficulties in school. All right. So parents, if you're out there and you're listening and your child's got learning difficulties, you might want to take some notes. You know what I mean? Because this is what this show's all about, trying to help people. Okay? So let me get into this. All right. Despite the advancements in the quality of teaching and practical literacy, any classroom will always have a couple of students who struggle to keep up with their peers' pace of learning and task completion. That's very true, because I was one of them, you know what I mean? And it used to get me frustrated. Yeah, so yeah, they're speaking the truth there. Many children who have difficulties fulfilling their school obligations get labelled as lazy or not smart enough, which can poorly affect the development of the individual's personality. Wow, you see, serious stuff, man. While these children are often not aware that there is a certain kind of learning disability that keeps them from achieving their desired results. So you got to feel sorry for them because they're not even aware, you know what I mean, of their learning disability, right? That's stopping them from achieving their desired result. Do you know what I mean? All right. It is not rare to face this sort of difficulty. On the contrary, as many as 9% of children in the US schools have a learning disability diagnosis. Wow. Okay. Try to imagine what a child with dyslexia feels like when laughed at for having trouble reading out loud in class, or a child with dysgraphia. Right, I don't know exactly what that is, but I'm guessing it's some sort of other kind of disability. Right, a child with dysgraphia trying to keep up with the pace of their peers note taking, or how a child with ADHD feels when days of preparing for a test result in a low grade and they start questioning themselves and how smart they are. Mm. These sort of mini traumas and disappointments can leave serious consequences during the development of an adolescent's personality, which can reflect negatively on their entire subsequent life. Wow. It is up to teachers as well as parents to help children who have a learning disability diagnosis by organizing their learning process so that it can get as physical bearable, so that it gets as oh my gosh, what's that, psychologically right bearable as possible. So let me wheel that back there. Right, it is up to the teachers as well as the parents to help children who have a learning disability diagnosis by organizing their learning process so that it gets as psychologically bearable as possible with the least possible amount of frustration. Okay. So you hear that? So you have to work parents like for real, like. I hope you heard me on the second time, right? If you didn't hear me on the first. But anytime I don't get it right the first time, I'm wheeling it back. What are you talking about, man? Fuck that. You get me? This shit ain't getting me out. You get me what I'm saying? So yeah, you know what I'm saying, man? What they're saying is you have to work with the teachers, man. Don't work against them. Work with them, innit? Because it's your responsibility as a parent and the teacher's responsibility to make sure this child, you know what I mean, does as much as they can to learn in school. Do you know what I mean? And feel comfortable at school. Do you know? So it's down to the two of you. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, you have to bear that in mind. And don't fight the teachers. Yeah, work with them. Right. With the least possible amount of frustration. Okay. This article will provide some guidelines as to how to support and encourage a child during the emotionally challenging processes they will face when striving to meet their school obligations. Okay, right. So it's going to give some tips now, on how the best way is for them to meet their school obligations. You get what I'm saying? Right. Tips for educators and parents on supporting children with learning difficulties. Right. Each child is unique by their character, aspirations, shortcomings, and virtues. When a disability is added to the mix, it becomes harder for the teachers and parents to find the best approach to facilitating the process of learning and completing school obligations/tasks. Okay. There are, however, certain supportive approaches that can be generally/comprehensively implemented with each individual child. Okay. So you have to treat the child individually, innit? Because every child's different. So you have to find the right kind of approach to implement, innit? Where the child is concerned to suit their needs, innit? You know what I mean? So you have to bear that in mind. Alright. Establish a sincere relationship with the child. Try to explain to them what learning difficulties is. Okay. Yes, I hope you're hearing that. Alright. If you want to help a child who has learning disability diagnosis, it is best to start with building a sincere relationship by explaining what exactly a learning disability entails. Right? Therefore, depending on the child's age, you need to explain that having some sort of learning disability is not a problem that makes them any less valuable, that they just need a bit of approach to learning. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't make them less valuable. They just need a different approach to learning, okay, than what maybe their pair needed. Okay, so right, it don't make them any less valuable. They just need a different approach to learning that will help them reach the same results as their peers in class. See, that's what I'm saying. You get me? Depending on the difficulty in question, the teacher can try out various approaches to learning and see what suits the child the best. Right. Okay. Yeah, so they try different approaches in different ways, innit? Yeah, and see what way suits them the best. Okay, I get it. Right, focus on praising effort, not results. Okay, so focus, and hearing that, parents, focus on praising their effort, yeah, and not the result. Okay, so that makes sense. So give them a clap for trying. You get me? And focus on the fact that they tried rather than how it went. Do you get me? In the end, all right. Okay, so it says focus on praising effort and not result, bearing in mind that children with learning difficulties cannot always reach high grades. Parents and teachers must explain to them that effort must always be above the result itself. I see. So, yeah, you have to give them marks for their effort rather than the result itself. Okay? So, marks for their effort rather than the result itself, because we know that they struggle with the desired outcome, yeah, and the desired result, as it said here earlier. Okay, so by placing focus on the result, the children can easily get demotivated and disappointed, especially if they keep comparing their results to other children's. Yeah, and I feel like it will. When you're putting pressure on them and everything for the result, it's gonna lead them to comparing it to other children's. Yeah, when they're not getting the same result as their classroom peers. You get me? It's natural that it will lead them to do that. So you take that pressure off of them, innit? You know what I mean? All right, the key to success is in surpassing yourself and your ability. And this is possible only through investing effort into mastering a certain skill or acquiring certain knowledge. Okay, so mastering a certain skill, acquiring certain knowledge. When sufficient effort is invested, the desired result will surely be achieved. It is only a matter of time. So you see, yeah, you just have to work on them with their effort. You know what I mean? When you get them putting 100% effort in, as close to that as possible, then it should surely achieve the desired result. But it's time, innit? It's a matter of time, and that's a lot of people get frustrated, or parents might get frustrated with their kids because it takes time, innit? And you think, oh, why aren't they getting it quick enough? Why aren't they getting it? Why aren't they getting it? Why aren't they getting it? It takes time, innit? And they're not the same as a kid who doesn't have learning difficulties, and that's what you have to bear in mind, innit? It takes time, okay? But yeah, time is the master, man. So it's just a matter of time, and it's a slow pint. You just got to do it, and if you love your children, you just got to just ride it with them, innit? And fucking just ride it with them, man, and make sure you understand that it's gonna take time, okay? All right. So concentrating on a child's strengths and not their weaknesses. Okay, so don't tell your child that, oh, you're dumb, because you can't do it. You know what I mean? And focusing, you can't do this, you can't do that, or whatever. You know what I mean? And just focusing on the weaknesses, the problem. Yeah? Focus on the strengths, okay? Because that's a part of the solution. You know what I mean? And that's what it's about. It's about gaining solutions. It's not about focusing on the problems. We do too much of that as humans. We just sit there all the time and focus on the problem, and we're never really working on the solutions. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's a good thing, I think, to focus on, you know? Right, provide them with role models, you know what I mean? Yeah? So it says every human being strives to realize their, what's that? Fucking archetypes, yeah? 12 universal archetypes according to, I hope I'm saying that right, to the jog in jog. Right, you know what, I'm not even going to bother because this is a load of jargon. I'm not even going to fucking lie to you. This is some real professor shit, some Albert Einstein shit. I don't even want to touch that. But I'll touch the heading though. Provide them with role models. Now, who you see as a role model fit for your child, that's down to you. You get what I'm saying? For real. And you know, when I was reading this earlier, I didn't, because I read the stuff before, obviously, that's how I pick it. You get what I'm saying? And I didn't get this far. Let me keep it 100% real with you. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. But the next heading is motivate them and regularly assess their emotions. So motivate your child and regularly assess their emotions, okay? So this looks a bit more down to earth now that we've got our feet on the ground with this paragraph, okay? So children with learning difficulties often struggle both in the classroom and outside of it. It is therefore the teachers' and parents' duty to monitor the child's emotional state. So you hear that? So when the child's in school, it's the parents' teacher. When the child's in school, it is the teacher's responsibility, okay, to monitor their emotions. All right, and when they're at home, obviously it's the child's responsibility. But you know, I'd like to say I think that the children are in school more than they're at home, hours-wise. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely down to the teachers as well as the parents, man. And sometimes they say, it's the parents' fault. It's the parents' fault. Always want to blame the parents. No, not all the time does it lie. Just down to the parents alone. Yeah. I'm just saying in this article so many times, you know. All right, and the best way to motivate the child when their spirits are low is through talking to them. There are several ways to solve a problem the child is facing through conversation. You see, so it's problem solving, man. That's what it is, and that's not easy to do, innit? I want to say it like, oh yeah, man, it's just have to solve the problem. That's easy. Nah, it's not, innit? Yeah, ain't. But it takes patience to solve a problem. Yeah, when we're doing a puzzle, what do you need to do the puzzle? You need patience to put a puzzle together, innit? You can get what I'm saying? So that's what you're doing when you're problem solving. You're put pieces together, innit? Because the pieces are all over the place. You're trying to get them together, put them together and see what you get. You know what I mean? So you got to look at it like that. All right? Okay, deconstruct the unpleasant situation into parts. This approach will allow you to perceive the main causes of the initial conflict and understand what actually happened. Okay. Give them examples from your own life. All right. See? So give them examples from your own life, man. And make sure the examples are true. You get me? And they're real. You know what I mean? And they're not false and things like that. Because they'll know it, innit? You get me? So don't feed them false information when you're doing this. That's what I'd say, you get me? Yeah. Just keep it 100 with them, innit? As much as you can, obviously, because they're a child, innit? So you have to take time and remember that as well. Okay? All right. Any advice is welcome, but it's best when it comes from a person who has overcome a situation similar to what one's going through. You see what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that your advice is spot on. And if you've been through it, then you can talk it. If you ain't gone through it, you can't talk it. You know what I mean? It's like in one of my other episodes when I was talking about prison. You get what I'm saying? Like, I was quick to tell you I haven't been to prison, innit? And I'm proud to tell you that as well, because at the end of the day, like I said, it's not a nice place, innit? Yeah, but I could have been going on like, oh yeah, I've been to prison, this and that. You get what I'm saying? But how much of a dickhead would I have been? And you've got people that are like that out there, just for clout. You know, they're chatting burst shit, do you know what I mean, on their things until someone comes on there and baits them up. You get me? So you have to keep this shit lit by keeping it real, okay? And that's a little bit of derail there, but yeah, it's just about keeping it real to your child, all right? And make sure it's something that you've gone through. So when you're saying it's come from the heart, all right? Teach them the value of themselves. Okay, so teach them about themselves. Teach them who they are. Do you get what I'm saying? Right? Teach them who they are. Teach them their history. Do you know what I mean? If you can. Because not everyone knows their history. Do you know what I mean? And whatnot. But if you can do these things, do it, man. Do you get me? Because it's like water for a flower. You get me? So if you can do it, do it. All right. Nourish children's intellectual, curiosities. All right? So nourish the children's intellectual curiosities. If you pay attention, you will notice that every child starts their life with a hefty dose of curiosity. Very true. However, as children get older, if they keep facing stern and negative responses from parents and teachers, this curiosity often gets suppressed. For children with learning disabilities, curiosity is one of the crucial factors when it comes to maintaining continuity in their activities and finding creative alternative solutions for problems. So don't discourage children when they ask a lot of questions. Real talk, man. But provide answers and refer them to materials where they can dive deeper into the subject that they find interesting. Exploring the fields that the child is curious about is a good way to find the area in which they can achieve great results. All right. It's deep, man. It's deep. Hope you're hearing all this, man. You get what I'm saying? All right. Teach the child to reach the flow state easier through play. Okay. to teach the child to reach the flow state easier through play. Right, so that's one heading. Divide the task into smaller parts with clear instructions. Yeah. So divide the task into smaller parts with clear instructions. So that's any task that you're doing, okay? All right, here's another one. There are solutions for helping children with learning difficulties. You just need to implement them, okay? All right, discovering the gifts of children with learning difficulties and adjusting those gifts to these general supportive approaches will help them avoid many unpleasant situations at school and elsewhere. Your job as a teacher or parent is to implement them and after a while see their positive effects on healthy psychological development and the realization of all their desired goals. The end. Alright? Got there in the end, innit? You know what I mean? And there was a lot more, I'm not gonna lie to you. Excuse me, there was a lot fucking more. But yeah, I decided to skip a bit of it, because we didn't have to go through every single paragraph, you know what I mean? Bare fucking night, to be quite honest with you. So yeah, I just thought, right, yeah, that's how we're doing it. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, but yeah, I hope you got everything there that I was kind of saying. If not, you can always go back, listen to it again, try and make sense of it. You know what I mean? And then try and do some of it. You know, try and do some of it in your own way. You know what I mean? Not the way that I've read it from their article. Not the way even that I'm saying it. Just make sense from, pick sense from nonsense. You get me? Out of everything that you've heard on the show, and then do it in your own way. All right. And yeah, man, much blessings to you on that journey and everything like that. And I hope it works out for you and your children. You get me? Yeah. And thank you for listening to the show tonight. That's my reality podcast show. Yeah, episode 11. And yeah, I'm going to call it a day. God bless you all. And I'll speak to you on the next episode.
My Reality Podcast Show is a platform that's set up for normal, everyday people to come on and tell your story. Guests will send us a recording of their story, and the most inspiring story makes it on the show. We'll also contact guests via social media, so look out for that. This is a brand new podcast, KC's My Reality Podcast Show. If there's anyone out there that wants to talk about their reality on this platform, holler at me on all social media sites. Another way to let us know you want to come on the show is to leave a comment on the YouTube page with your social media details down below, and we'll get back to you. That's a problem.
To cause sickness, let them cold turkey all over the Christmas. I'm cooking right now, and I don't need a witness to get holes in my heart like hand washing dishes. Just to feed my baby, selling drugs is on the wish list. Yeah, selling drugs is on my wish list.